guess when you look at Michigan, where do you start with preparing for them and prioritizing how you got to beat them?
That's a great question, Robin. This team's, they're scary. They're, it looks like an NBA team out in the court with the size, with the speed, with the athleticism. They're third, top 3 in the country in transition rate, and they're top 5 in efficiency in transition. So that's where it starts, I guess, is you got to try to do everything you can to limit easy opportunities. And they're so powerful. For those keeping track, I mean, Gonzaga is 19-1, and their one loss was to Michigan by 40. So, I mean, it's just what they're doing right now. I mean, it took an absolute superhuman effort by Wisconsin. I think they made 8 threes in a row to start the second half to get back in the game. They were down, I think, 19 in that one. So, they're just a machine. Dusty's done an unbelievable job with this group. Their length is, we got to be smart. They're one of the best shot blocking teams in the country. They're a great steal team. We have to take care of it. That's where it starts. Take care of the ball, get back in transition, and find a way to compete on the glass against a team that is elite in that area as well. So it's a great opportunity, yes, and we've got to go in there and give everything we got to have a chance.
Is there part of this group that, I know you look at all the metrics and how good Michigan is, and maybe can be a little overwhelming, but how do you keep the confidence up, saying, well, here's our path to beat these guys?
Yeah, again, it's going to take a very disciplined approach. I know it's going to be rocking in the Chrysler Center tomorrow, and we've done a pretty darn solid job to this point of fighting adversity, facing adversity on the road, and finding a way to compete, I guess, at a high level. And we've had stretches where it hasn't looked very good. Obviously, Indiana, you're down 16 at the first media. The other night against Minnesota, I just didn't like our spirit in that first half. And that being said, we found a way. We found a way to regroup. We found a way to continue to go. The thing that's been really impressive, this team averages 1.5 10-point runs a game. And think about that. That's an insane stat with the ability to go on crazy runs. So if that happens, you can't drop your head. You can't lose your competitive juice. You just have to keep going because, certainly, obviously, they're more than capable of putting these enormous runs together, and how are you going to respond to it? That's the biggest thing for us, which will allow us to have a chance or not, is how you're going to respond to their runs, and they're the best in the country at that.
How important will hand activity be in this game? They have a tendency to kind of pitch it around.
Yeah, they do everything really well, and Mara in the paint. Morez Johnson in the paint. Yaxel is all over the court. You look what he's doing. I think he's the most versatile player in our league. With you look at the stats, how many he's either leading or second on their team in pretty much every major statistical category. Cadeau, the way he's shooting the ball over 40%, just adding that element to his game, and then everybody else with their ability to shoot it. You can tell they're really connected. Mm-hmm. And, for us, yes, if we can have hand activity, that helps. If we can get deflections. But again, for us, we have to take care of the ball. It's something we've been good at, but they're really good at forcing turnovers. We have to do everything we can to try to get some of our own.
How's Braden been tracking the last couple days?
Braden's making great progress, and he got a really good workout in yesterday, did some things again today. So we'll have him as a game time decision for tomorrow.
So he's going to travel then?
We're still making that decision right now, and we'll meet with him and talk to the doctors before we don't leave for a couple hours. So we'll make that decision. But he got some good work in these last couple days.
What have you seen from Rink the past 3 or 4 games?
I've seen some good things out of Rink. He's he missed a couple easy ones. He's going to make those. There's no doubt in my mind, and he's going to get it going from 3 again. He shot the ball really well in practices. He feels great physically, and he listen, whether Rink's making shots or not, you see the impact he has on the floor. I was talking to another coach in the league, and they just talk about the impact of whether he's making shots, whether he's producing out there. But there's so much attention to Rink and how you're going to guard him. It forces teams to defend in different ways than maybe their normal base defense. And I think that's what happened at Minnesota is, it just kind of warmed down as the game went on. And then Price got going. But a lot of that is because of the attention to Rink. And are you going to switch off him? And then they get confused, and then Price gets open for a shot. Sam had a couple early that really kept us in the game in those first 20 minutes. But yeah, Rink he's doing a lot of things for this team, and he'll continue to do that.
With the front court that Michigan has, how important it is to have Rink shooting better from the clip just to be able to pull them out of the lane and open things up.
Yeah, and when we get into the lane, we have to make smart decisions. I promise you this, and we showed our guys a million clips of Mara in the paint, of Johnson in the paint. Yaxel is a really good shot blocker, and then they get their hands on balls. They swarm. They go after everything. And if you don't make smart plays in the paint, it's not even going to be a contest. So you got to hopefully get in there and then make the right plays once you do get in, get 2 feet in the paint.
We saw in Minnesota at halftime, you got after the guys. How do you determine, is it a tough balance at half whether or not to light a fire under them or just build their confidence? Is that ever an internal battle?
I think I would try to do a little bit of both. The initial, yes, we got on them, we jumped them. I just, sometimes you play hard, or just the ball doesn't go in. I thought Minnesota played harder than us in the first half. That was the disappointing thing to me. That was the disappointing thing to our staff, is I thought we just got outworked in that first half. And then you saw when we flipped it, and I give the guys a lot of credit. They went out and responded in a huge way to a pretty good chewing out. But yeah, I mean, there's times where we get on them where maybe you don't see it. That's not the first time I've ever yelled at our team. So, but that's what this group's all about. They've been unbelievably coachable. They don't take things personal. They say things to each other at times, and maybe other teams that I've coached. Now you got a little bit of a feud going on out there. This team has been unbelievable in accountability and self-accountability within the team, within the group. And if you have that, that makes our job as coaches a lot easier. And, it wasn't just us, it wasn't just me, it wasn't Nate, but you saw some players getting after each other a little bit at halftime as well. And then before you go out, yes, you pump them up, and, you talk about getting back to being who we are. And that's exactly what our guys did.
I know he was already had an important role with Braden's injury. In a game like this with their size, Jared Garcia, what role can he play?
Yeah, Jared, he's going to have to give us good minutes in this game. Yeah, I talked about this. Everybody's going to have to be ready. Kendall, I talked about Kendall. He's practiced well this last week, and it was great to see him knock down that shot in front of, I think, 20 family members on that last possession. Justin Bolus has been great. He's going to have to be ready with his athleticism, his pop. Leo with his size is going to have to be ready as well. So, when you got one guy down, whether Braden plays tomorrow or not, you're going to have guys that are ready to step up. And, Jared, he was such a key factor in helping us win maybe our most important game of the year at Illinois with the way he played those last 8 minutes. The biggest thing we're looking for is more consistency, making sure that he understands and follows the game plan, whether he's playing the 4 or the 5. We've had him guard the 5 more. It's a little bit more of a simple coverage than when you're at the 4 where you're more in rotation. And, he's got the ability to shoot. He didn't make them the other night, but, you've seen multiple occasions where Jared has taken the lid off the basket for us, whether it's been a shot or a play around the basket or an offensive rebound. So, yeah, we're going to need not just Jared, but everybody. This is a big trip, and when you go on the road, we're all we got.
Fred, the new top 25 is out. You guys are at 5 in the AP. What does it mean to have the program's first top 5 ranking?
I don't know. We just got to move on to the next. Talk to our guys. Keep your walls up. Keep your barriers up. Don't let it poison you. It's great. It's a great accomplishment, but it doesn't mean anything until the end of the year. We're just fighting to keep this thing going, keep it moving in the right direction. And the only thing that matters is what goes on at the end of the year.
Is it still day-to-day with Oogie, or have you made any final decision with him?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't done anything on the court. He's still battling his back, and obviously it'd be great to have Oogie. It'd be great to have Connor. But right now, Connor, obviously we've made that decision to shut him down, and Oogie has not done anything on the court this last week.
You guys had a delay in Minnesota getting back. Had the team waste their time, I guess, on that delay.
Yeah, we sat in the barn for like 2 hours. It was great. I sent a picture of Kevin McHale, and I said, we're stuck in the barn. He said that building's 125 years old, not a great place to be stuck. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, we all just did work. We watched film. We were able to watch some individual film with the guys. I mean, this is our third 2-day prep in a row, and we're shorthanded, but I just give our guys all the credit in the world for the way that they continue to go out, continue to approach it, continue to prepare the right way. Even though we've got some pretty important pieces that aren't out there right now. So it was good. It was a good opportunity for us to teach while we were sitting in that gym, and hopefully be better with some things that we had some missed assignments in this next game against Michigan. We're gonna have to be perfect. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it takes to play against a team like this, to give yourself a chance. And that still may not be good enough. I mean, this team is that good that we're facing.
What do you do about their pace, Fred?
Got to get back. I mean, it sounds pretty darn simple, but that's what it is. You got to get back. You got to load. You can't give Burnett threes in transition. He's really good at hunting them. Coming down the floor, and all those guys. But the biggest thing, you got to take away the rim. That's where they're elite. But if you do that, then that opens up 3-point shots for some really elite shooters as well.
Is this kind of like a Michigan State-ish kind of pace where you want to kind of maybe try and slow it down, but take your
We always talk about playing with smart pace, and on the road in particular, you have to do that. They're the best chase down block team I've ever seen in college. So you might think you have an advantage. They're coming. They are flying down, and you really got to be smart. You got to know who's coming back from the second wave, and again, you got to make smart decisions.
Anything else for Coach?